My name is Dr. Jason J. Campbell, and I want to thank you for watching this video. In today's lecture, I'm going to be discussing Hume's fork, and Hume refers to David Hume. And in this discussion of Hume's fork, we'll recognize sort of the distinction between analytic and synthetic propositions, what they mean, what the significance of them are, and then also how this was used to buttress Immanuel Kant's account of the Copernican revolution, which was a very sort of revolutionary idea that was introduced into philosophy. So with that being said, let's begin. This is Hume's fork. Okay, so basically what David Hume does is he realizes that with respect to claims that can be made, propositions are typically going to fall into one or two categories, right? You can have those propositions which are synthetic propositions. You can have synthetic propositions, and the classical philosophical example of a synthetic proposition is the cat is on the mat. So the cat is on the mat, and I'm not an artist, but here's the mat and here's the cat. All right, so that's my kitty cat. That's the mat. So there is the cat, there is the mat, and here's this idea of being on the mat, right? So the cat is on the mat. Okay, so this is a synthetic proposition, right? The cat is on the mat. I can identify the validity of this statement by observing it, right? So that I can recognize that this statement, the cat is on the mat, has truth functionality. And as we did in a previous video with respect to truth functionality, we know that a proposition is said to have truth functionality if the proposition can be verified to be either true or false. So this claim can either be true or it can be false. And in this case, we know that this claim is true because there it is, right? The cat is on the mat. The question is, well, why is this claim true? Why is this synthetic proposition true? Well, the truth of this proposition is from observation, right? So it's true by observation or verification. Why is it true? Well, it's true by the fact that I can see it, right? The cat is on the mat. I see the cat. I see the mat. I recognize that the cat is on the mat. It is true. It has truth functionality. And the reason why it's true by observation. I can verify this claim. Okay, so that's the first thing to recognize. The next thing to realize is that Hume talks about analytic statements, right? So the antithesis to a synthetic proposition would be an analytic proposition. And an analytic proposition is, the classical one is, a bachelor is an unmarried man. A bachelor is an unmarried man. Now, the first thing that you should recognize is that an analytic proposition is completely different from a synthetic proposition. My synthetic proposition is true, and it has truth functionality. My analytic proposition is true, and it has truth functionality, but the way that we determine the truth or falsity of the proposition is different for each. In a synthetic proposition, I determine the truth functionality of the statement through observation. I see that the cat is on the mat, therefore the cat is on the mat. The proposition, the cat is on the mat, is true when the cat is on the mat. A bachelor is an unmarried man. The question is, do I need to be able to verify a particular bachelor to determine that he's unmarried? So you have a friend named Bob. Bob is single. Someone says a bachelor is an unmarried man. Do you need to verify with Bob that he is an unmarried man and therefore he's a bachelor? Well, no, right? The truth of this statement isn't based on observation, Analytic statements are true by definition, by the very definition of the term. So this is truth by definition. So synthetic statements, synthetic propositions are true by observation. Analytic statements, analytic observations are true by definition. The fact that I'm defining a bachelor as an unmarried man means that an unmarried man is also a bachelor. You can see that they're interchangeable. Technically speaking, Hume says that, well, analytic statements are going to be tautological, right? It's going to be A equals A. And this is known as a tautology. Right? A bachelor is an unmarried man. An unmarried man is a bachelor. I'm saying the same thing. With respect to the notion of meaning then, the next point that Hume discusses in this concept of his fork, Hume's fork, is that, well, with respect to meaning, well, tautological claims are essentially meaningless, right? There isn't any meaning to be had in a tautological claim. A bachelor is an unmarried man is a bachelor. It's tautological. I'm saying the same thing. I'm just using different words to say basically the same thing. So this is basically meaningless. Right? There's less meaning in analytic claims. They have a function, right? They have truth functionality, but they're not really telling me anything. And he looks at these claims as being very meaningful. Right? He looks at synthetic claims as being very meaningful, very rich with data and information. And this isn't in any sense surprising because, as we know, Hume was an empiricist, and empiricists look to the world, empirical claims, verifiable claims, as being the most meaningful claims that exist. And this was in opposition to the rationalists, Descartes and Spinoza and the rest, who thought that it was reason where you gained all of your knowledge. So obviously, Hume, being an empiricist, is going to put emphasis on synthetic propositions rather than analytic propositions, because synthetic propositions bring the observer into the world for any attempt to determine the true functionality of the proposition. So if I want to determine the true functionality of the cat is on the mat, I need to observe whether or not the cat is on the mat. If I wanted to determine the true functionality of an analytic proposition, well, I need to determine whether or not the definition is correct, right? A bachelor is an unmarried man is a bachelor. Hume says it's tautological, and he says it's meaningless. This however, is only one half of Hume's fork. And after I put up the other 2 points, I'll draw it out how it's traditionally drawn out, just for sort of like the visual effect, so we can see the impact that this had on Immanuel Kant's sort of revolutionary idea. Okay, so we have synthetic claims, we have analytic claims. My eraser's not erasing well.